So in the recent video with Jacob, one of the SJW things that we read was an article titled "Romance is White Supremacy." So as tired as I am, let's read and find out if my predictions in that video were right, like they always are. Please be wrong. Just for once, can Matt just be wrong? I beg of you. Okay. In 2020, a Pew Research Center report that found that nearly 50% of U.S. adults said that dating had gotten harder in recent years. Okay. I love how the surprise here is meant to be that 50% is a high number. If anything, 50% is a low number. I would expect like 85% because dating has become miserable for most people in modern day. All of the women who just want gold diggers and all this shit, like it's just awful. Anyway, with participants nothing dissatisfaction with the relationship history as well as their prospects for the future. So what's happening? Is at the end of romantic love? Yes. Yes, it has basically died. As it turns out, yep, it sure is. That's according to the U.S. Santa Barbara professor of Black Studies, Sabrina Strings. Okay, now here's the thing. While it has died, and she knows that it died, I guarantee you her reason has nothing to do with reality, but we will debunk it as we go, as always. According to her new book, The End of Love, Racism, Sexism, and the Death of Romance, yes, this is the reason why, and not because people are superficial as fuck. Addresses the growing trend of situationships and how they're pretty much entirely created by women, regardless of skin color, and why it hurts black women and... Okay. Why it hurts black women and other non-elite and non-white women most. Right. Romance had to begin... Okay, so... Anyway, before I read it, it's mostly affected towards men because we're the ones isolated and lonely and depressed and suicidal, and of course because those situations are real and involve mental health and are problematic and involves death. Those are the things that she won't focus on. Okay, romance had a beginning, said Strings. Romance is an old white cultural institution that began in the Middle Ages. One of the very first examples of a romantic story is Lancelot and Guinevere. She pointed out, yes, because the best way to talk about how things are fucked up in modern day is to randomly bring up history for no reason. Which is about the trials of a man from a lower situation who sets out to prove he is worthy of a higher class European Christian woman. Love is very much about generosity, but romance is very much about what you can get from somebody. Right. And again, before we talk about how women are... I know you think it's black women, but if just women in general. Before we start going on saying, oh, well, women are the most affected, even though romance, and this is like... This couldn't be more of a fact. So denying it, even for an SJW, would be, like, unheard of. But everybody, even a corpse, knows that romance is exclusively for women. There is no such thing as a woman approaching a man saying, here's a little gift and a little hug. I hope I can make your day better. No, it's all about men buying women things like dinners and movies and flowers and chocolate and so on. Romance is exclusively for women. Exclusively for women. But yes, women are the ones affected. Okay, cool. Okay. Romance you get for somebody, especially if you're a man who is social climbing. What? Are you shitting my dick? What did you just fucking say? Romance is very much about what you can get from somebody, especially if you're a man who is social climbing. First of all, what does climbing the social ladder have to do with dating? And two, when has a man ever been benefited by romance? Men give romance to the woman to make her attracted to him. Women don't romance men. Ever. That's never happened in history. Whether if we're talking about the past or modern day, that's never happened. Like, what planet or culture are you even from? In The End of Love, String blends together historical research, okay, personal anecdotes, okay, of course. So in other words, delusions. These aren't even anecdotes. These are just delusions. And cultural criticism to consider the demise of romantic partnerships, emphasizing how racism has nothing to do with it, and anti-feminist ideology. Oh, it's the anti-feminist ideology. Remember, everybody, equality is important, but only if it benefits women. If men say shit like, well, I want to be treated equal, all of a sudden we're scum, we're incels, what's the word? We're cucks, we're pathetic, right? I mean, how dare a man say equality? Oh, equality. So does that mean when I take you to dinner we pay equally? Oh, no, because that would not benefit a woman. Therefore, it's sexist and anti-feminist. Fucking hell. What if a man dares to say that he once in a while wants a little bit of a gift, like a chocolate bar or something from the girl that he's dating? Oh, well, no. You can't expect a woman to pay for any kind of meal or gift because you're the man and you're a deadbeat if she pays for anything, even if it's like a $1 chocolate bar. These people are fucking deluded. Again, just to reiterate for all of you dumb people out there, anti-feminism, first of all, is what you fucking wanted. But the problem was that the second feminists found out that being equal means that you lose your privileges, they no longer wanted it. Remember, feminism, to the mind of an idiot, means that women get more because they think men have more. But then when the feminists started realizing, wow, we actually have more than men, therefore asking for equality gives us less, such as opening the door for you or paying for everything you have, like all your meals, etc., 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 they switch it to, okay, no, we want equality, but only if it benefits us. So it's not actual equality, we're just calling it that to guilt you. Understand? No, I can't be a gold digger anymore unless the man's really, really, really deluded and I've abused him to the point where he doesn't realize that it's not real equality and we're just trying to convince him that it's a tradition that he must follow, and if he doesn't, he's a scumbag, loser, pathetic, low-life, deadbeat man who I'll shame on social media into doing it because if he does do it, he'll get equality, but I don't want that, so I have to shame him to not wanting it and thinking that he's in the wrong for wanting it. That's what I have to do? Okay, got it. Oh, fucking, I hate all you people so much. So, anti-feminist ideology, right, have been the driving forces behind it. I'm sure of that. By interrogating how ideas about contemporary love came about, Strings shows the romance narrative served as a blueprint for radicalized dating landscape. And let's just point out the first of my predictions. Of course, she is, as you'd expect, from California. Of course. Okay, I have a question for everyone watching this video. Can somebody, I know it'll take a long time because I have a lot of videos and my videos are pretty long, but can somebody make a compilation of every single time Matt's FTR pointed out that something stupid came out of California? I would love to see that compilation made by somebody. I doubt any of you care, but if somebody made that compilation, I would be so grateful. And just to point out, my prediction actually was wrong. Not this prediction, but I made two. So, in the video with Jacob, I also said that I thought the article would be talking about romance being dead because black fathers are always leaving. Turns out, the article's a lot dumber than that. So I was wrong, but that's okay. From romance's origin to its contemporary impact on women, of course, yeah, women are the ones impacted because you asked for equality, and now you're not getting special treatment anymore, and therefore you're affected because you want special treatment. Got it. Especially black and insufficiently white women. What the fuck does that even mean? The North Hall Chairs of Black Studies traces its evolution from slavery to pornography. Romance is white supremacist. No, you being able to write this bullshit against white people is black supremacy. And that's what it's been for the last decade. The promise of romance is that women who are not peak white or are insufficiently white are subject deservedly to deceit, manipulation, assault, and rape. What? Okay, let's go through each one, and we're going to use facts to back it up, which I know you people hate. Deceit and manipulation. Everybody knows that the majority of things that are like mentally abusive things, like deceit, manipulation, gaslighting, lying, are primarily by women. Any like properly done study will show you that women tend to lie more than men, manipulate more than men, gaslight more than men, cheat more than men. These are statistics backed up by tons of evidence. I mean, what can I fucking say at this point? Assault? Well, let's go into domestic violence for one brief moment. We have all seen for the last several years that the stats on domestic violence were almost exactly 50-50, but the most recent stats, updated as of 2024, shows that domestic violence is 52% against men from women. 52%. So only 48% comes from men. Therefore, women are more abusive than men are. You'd also know that by finding out that between straight couples, gay couples, and lesbian couples have the highest percentage of abuse because women. And also, 70% of all domestic abuse is initiated by women. What else can I say? Even when the stats showed that it was almost 50-50, but slightly higher for men, we were able to point out that it was still higher for women, actually, even if the stats showed 51-49, because one thing that we also knew that people didn't want to admit to is that abuse against men is underreported and abuse against women is overreported. I have a video on my channel called Truth About Domestic Violence. Literally watch it if you want me to expand on that. But yeah, now even the stats. So so now it's so bad that even if we don't count the people who are overreported and underreported, even the base stats still show that it's higher for women. That's fucked. And then finally, rape. That's the only one that's true. Yes, women are raped more than men. There is a stat as well that shows that if you include prison, men are actually raped more. But I personally do not like using that stat. I think it's an extremely unfair stat because even though it is true men are raped more if you include prison, it's important to note that those rapes come from other men, and that's why the stats are higher. Now, before you say, okay, Matt, but men are still being raped more, so why can't I say that? The reason I find it disrespectful is because it's men raping other men, and it really, pushes down the actual, real female rape victims if I say, well, actually, men are raped more if you include prison, and that's a totally fair thing to say. It's true. I'm not saying it's not true, but if you think of this logically, it's just not a fair thing to say. It really, what's the word? It discredits, it disregards female rape victims, in my opinion, and I do think I'm right to say that. So, anyway. Okay. Offering a wide-spanning cultural critique, Strings covers questions from how colonization and slavery conspired to prevent black women from being considered viable long-term romantic partners. Is it possible because they're extremely rude and treat everyone like shit and they're more entitled than any other person in the world? Could that maybe be why? It is? Oh, so that's why we're not going to admit to it because it's a true fact that people find uncomfortable? Got it. Sorry. Had to make sure we knew that. Okay. To how changes brought forward during the civil rights era resulted in black men distancing themselves from black and insufficiently white women and aligning themselves with white men in order to pursue a rise in personal status. What the fuck are you talking about? From the rise and fall of the Black is Beautiful movement to how black music, including hip-hop, abandoned its message about black beauty and love once it took on a more white male fan base. What? I'm sorry, but that happened when people like Lizzo started pushing that black women should be fat and proud and have a victim complex and hate white people just for existing. That's the actual reason that happened. Anyway, there's no point. In the book, she also examines the rise of coded negative language for black women, including terms like hoes and gold diggers. Right, because gold digger doesn't apply to anybody, apparently. The invention of the fuckboy, which also doesn't apply to everybody, I guess. And the horrification of black women, which she notes grew in the part out of the backlash against the growing feminist movement in the mid to late 20th century, how men's media counseled its audience to be wary of women's intentions. narrowly selective in their choice of partners or to avoid marriage altogether. The influence of white male media created on black male artists from Playboy to G. What are you fucking talking about? The problematic portrayal of black women in popular culture and how the widespread availability of porn online has influenced sexual interests and men's expectations for a partner. This is so fucking wrong. You're literally just saying like random things that happen, most of which isn't even fucking true, or you brought it on yourself because of the feminist movement and the women are better than men and deserve everything, all that, and men are trash. You're taking things that you've caused, inflating it into some other stupid bullshit, and making connections that don't even exist. I'm not even gonna bother with this. Anybody who believes this is so stupid. In addition to her intellectual exploration of these issues, Strings also brings her personal experience into sharing difficult stories of her own challenges. You know what? Fuck you. We all have challenges, okay? The fact that I'm so sick of the fucking victim complex of black people. It's fucking ridiculous. You have everything's so much better than us if you look at facts. And it's just like, oh well, the media told me I'm a victim, so abuse and disappointments in romance. Yes, right. Okay, let's just talk about the modern dating world and who's actually suffering. I've already provided so much proof, but here's a little bit more. If we look at dating sites, did you know that the top 70% of women on dating sites only message the top 10% of men? That means that the other 90% of men are only messaged by 30% of women on dating sites. Don't fucking tell me that you're the one fucking suffering. Men encompass almost all fucking loneliness and suicide and isolation, and we also suffer in every other way. It's like when it comes to dating, we are the ones to do everything. We're the ones who pay for everything. We do all the courting of women. And also, most important, it's not even a skin color thing. This is not a skin color thing. It's just men and women in general. Women have been taught in modern day to hate men, and men have been taught in modern day to fear women because of how much women hate us. And this was perpetuated by the school system and the mainstream media telling every man that he is a fucking worthless piece of shit just for being born a man, and telling every woman that she is a victim and she's better than you just for being born a woman. Watch my video called Truth About the Gender War if you want to learn, if you want a huge expansion on that, and it's fucking true. I am only one of the millions of Gen X to Gen Z women who have endured a seemingly endless array of miserable relationships with men. Right. Even though men have the dating world harder, like way harder. She writes, it must be so difficult to go out with men and get a free meal and then fuck them over. Oh, it must be so fucking difficult for you. Statistics, people, I know, they're horrible, but let's just not ever look at them. But I'll tell you them anyway. She writes in her book, challenging readers to accept the end of love as they know it and to embrace more queer and feminist ideas of love, equity, and partnership. Well, if the end of that wasn't the dumbest thing I've ever heard a human being say ever. Hey guys, I know that the LGBTQ+, the plus community, and feminism, and following these ridiculous ideas of racism are what caused the exact fucking thing I'm complaining about, but let's perpetuate it even more. And fuck traditionalism, fuck gender roles that are proven by psychology, fuck all that shit. Let me complain about how bad it is while actually actively making it worse by supporting the very things that fucked it up in the first place. Everybody with even a quarter of a brain knows that pretty much all the modern problems were caused by feminism. They were. That is not an opinion, that is a fucking fact. So sure, let's bitch about the problems that I caused, and then continue to support the very thing that caused it. And again, this has nothing to do with skin color. You are one dumb fuck. Holy shit.